You know that sound when the vinyl first starts and the needle hits the record? It's
pop,
just
pop, click, click, pop.
yeah, nothing special for sure. I mean, music is everything. Some of the best memories I have is going to a concert around the world.
And so it was Smashing Pumpkins,
Oh,
Pearl Jam.
oh,
These were the opening acts for the Chili Peppers back in the 80s,
unbelievable.
The Fidelity Exchange, pulling back the curtain on brands shaping high-end audio and more.
Hey everyone, and welcome to the Fidelity Exchange. I'm Drew Baird from Moon Audio, and today I'm talking with Caroline and Craig Makepeace, the founders of This Is Raleigh. These two have traveled to over 50 countries, lived on 4 continents, and after seeing basically everywhere, they chose Raleigh as their forever home. They built the award-winning Why Travel blog, then launched This Is Raleigh to help newcomers and locals discover what makes the Triangle so special. We're excited to have them on because we built Moon Audio right here in Raleigh area too, so we share that experience of choosing this place to build something meaningful. If you're into good conversations about entrepreneurship, choosing where to invest your life, and yes, vinyl records, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Caroline, Craig, thanks for joining me today.
Thanks, Drew. Happy to be here.
Yeah, Drew. Yeah, just around the corner from each other, obviously.
So let's start at the beginning. You've traveled to 50 countries and lived in 4 continents. Yeah. What were you looking for in all of that travel?
Oh, a good time. Pretty much.
Sunsets and happy hours.
I think Australians really have a strong desire to see the world because we feel so far removed from it physically, but also when you look at our history, white Australia started from convicts, the British convicts. So this kind of feeling of, being withheld, incarcerated, and not fully understanding where we came from. Yeah. So I think that sparked a desire in a lot of Australians to explore. So it is very common after, you finish school or university that you do go and travel. And because we're part of the Commonwealth, we do get visas to be able to live and work in other countries. And so that was the strategy that we followed, was take advantage of those working holiday visas and live in other countries. And because we're so far away, Australians like to travel for a long period of time. And if we can work in and live in a country, that's a really great and affordable way for us to travel and explore the world. So that's basically how that started. And as the way travel goes, once you start, it's very hard to stop.
Yes, no, it's a good addiction, travel, that is for sure. And as Caroline said, we like to take adventures and go away for long times. You meet a lot of Australians who live in other countries around the world and base themselves, earn the local currency and explore that way. So we did that. We started doing that in 2002 when we moved to, we went and lived in Bangkok for 6 months and taught English. 2 days after we got married, actually, and which was kind of the kickoff to like a 5-year working honeymoon, we kind of call it. Living in Thailand and then Dublin, Ireland, and then our first stint living here in the US. But yeah, we can fill in a lot of gaps.
So explain maybe a little bit more for people to understand, what do you mean by you feel sort of once removed, or, like you don't have a true sort of home place? I mean, how many generations of your family have lived in Australia?
Well, I think that's the problem with a lot of Australians. It's hard to trace your roots because, as I mentioned, a lot of people that came over were convicts. So there's not a lot of records that go past beyond them coming over on the ships. So there's this sense of not really understanding who you are and where you come from. Like if you speak to an American, most of them can trace back their family generations and know where they came from, where it's very different for Australians. Who do come from that lineage, coming from, that early stage of British colonizations, coming from those that convict, the convicts, pretty much, yeah.
So interestingly enough, I'm in a similar situation. My grandfather was orphaned. He's from Scotland. I'm Scottish. Mm-hmm. And he was orphaned and was in an orphanage in Scotland. And then because of the really damp weather in Scotland, the doctor said he was working in coal mines in Scotland. They said, look, you've got to get out of here and go to a dry, arid climate. And he actually moved to America, to the Midwest. And so I don't have a lot of lineage past him. Like I know some details of some relatives and whatnot. And I have this very strange pull towards Scotland. Like, I'm born and raised in New York City. I'm a diehard American, diehard New Yorker. But at the same time, like, I'm so fascinated because Scotland the lineage is so old, right? You know, we came potentially from Vikings and who knows wherever. And I have that same pull, which is really interesting to want to go back there. And, you know, I'm doing all kinds of crazy genealogy now. And my dad is doing all kinds of historical records. I'm trying to find somebody over there that I can just drop in their house and say, hey, I'm a long lost relative. Let's have a pint. You know what I mean? It's interesting. So I guess you guys have sort of that same sort of pull to try and, you know, I don't know how much you have tried with your genealogy to figure things out, but I've got that exact same feeling. Even though I'm not an Australian, I've got that same pull desire to sort of figure out where I come from in a ways, right? I know my whole mother's side, but my dad's side, because it's only like, you know, just my grandfather, I don't have a lot of information past that. And it's what's driving me to sort of figure things out.
Yeah, I think it really sparks the curiosity within you because you don't have those stories to fill in the gaps. So then it's up to you to go and seek that and see what you can discover and how you can connect to the world around you, I think.
Yeah, so I moved to Raleigh, Cary area in 96. It looks like you guys moved here in 2004. And sort of tell me, you know, why did all of a sudden after all this travel, you know, in 2004, I'd still sort of say that the culture and dynamics of Raleigh still weren't sort of, I mean, it's so different now than when I moved here in 96, right? It was a really southern town when I moved here in 96. And I slowly started to see the culture momentum, you know, sort of shift. But really, I didn't see it maybe until really after 2010. So when you got here in 2004, what made you say, this is it? This is where I want to put some roots?
Yeah, well, I guess Raleigh chose us initially. Yeah. We'd never heard of Raleigh. We're living in, as I mentioned, we're living in Dublin, 2003. And just watching American Idol, the finals way back then. And some guy named Clay Aiken happened to be in the finals, and they do that episode where they go home. And I think it was at the RBC Centre where they went back and had a big welcome back party. Yep. That's the first time I ever heard of Raleigh. I was like, where is this place? But and then Caroline was teaching, she can tell the story. She's teaching elementary school and come across an opportunity to teach here in the US.
Yeah, that's right. I was at an elementary school and I just happened to bring home a Teachers Union magazine. Not something I've ever done before. So it was definitely fate luring us over here, and discovered an ad recruiting teachers. It was a company out of Chapel Hill. They're still there. They're called Participate Learning now. And they recruit foreign teachers to expose children here to other cultures. And so I found that ad. And as we mentioned, we were, you know, following that living in other countries, that strategy. And so it was like, well, let's try and apply and see what happens. And so we did. And obviously I got accepted and then was placed in a school in Johnston County. So that's how we ended up in Raleigh. So it was... you know, as Craig said, Raleigh chose us. It was kind of like just a fluke, really, just happenstance that we ended up here, but maybe it was where we were meant to be. And we both immediately just fell in love with Raleigh as soon as we arrived. There was just something about it that we connected with. We loved that it was a big town, but had a small town feel. Yep. And truly, I think it's the people. We just felt welcomed immediately. And I think that really makes a difference to the experience that you have anywhere.
Yeah, it got under our skin almost immediately, I guess. I mean, obviously it was very different 2004 to what it is now as well. We've seen a lot of growth, obviously. Yeah. Raleigh's been on this trajectory for a long time. You know, love how green it is and all the trees. It's like literally a city in the forest, like the City of Oaks, as they call it. It's a great East Coast hub, like we central to a lot of other cool places, like 2 hours to the beach and 3 hours to the Smoky Mountains. And we can pretty much, you know, drive to a lot of places within 8 hours. And yeah, I'm a sports guy. I love the college sports scene, which we don't have in Australia. So that was unique and fun. And it's quite diverse with the RTP Research Triangle Park. And obviously a lot of other people have moved from out of state as well. So, yeah, it's just a good East Coast hub, good place to be. And it was much more affordable back in 2004 than it is now, but like everywhere, you know, growth comes with growing pains.
Yeah, no doubt.
But yeah, it's just obviously not a touristy place like big cities in the US like Orlando or LA or New York, but just a good place to live. Like we love to live here and travel to other places and come back home here. So, but yeah, it ticks a lot of boxes.
And so you spent a long time trying to live in the U.S. permanently. Walk us through that journey. What were the issues there?
Oh, well, it's very difficult to attain the visas, the permission to live here permanently. And originally we were able to do that on the J1 Cultural Teaching Exchange visa, which is what I came over. But that was temporary. Originally it was only 3 years. They've now extended that to 5. So, we came over on that. We did 2 years, and we went home for 2 years and came back over. We had our first child back in Australia and came back over when she was 9 months and did another 2 years. So that was kind of the only way that we could stay here, but I didn't want to teach anymore. And so our option, we couldn't stay here. We had to go back to Australia. And that's when the journey for us began, to figure out a way that we could stay here permanently without me having to teach or rely on a job. And it was near impossible, really. You could win the green card lottery, which of course we entered just in case, you never know. And then you could have $1 million to invest in a business. Well, that wasn't happening for us. So we kind of, we were hoping it would, but we weren't at that stage happening. So we didn't give up on the dream. It was still there, but we kind of saw no way to achieve it. And that's when we started looking at ways that we could create our own business. And from that, we tried a lot of things that we failed miserably at and lost a lot of money. And eventually we came back to this idea of, well, what is it that we really love? Let's do something around that. And that's when we discovered travel blogs. And, they were writing about travel, these adventures that we had been doing for the past decade. So it was like, well, why don't we jump in and try this? Surely we can. If they're doing it, we can too. And we started travel blogging with 10 years of stories and tips behind us. So we were able to gain traction because of that quite quickly, because we were expertise in it. And so that's how the journey started. And fast forward, that was 2010. And then we grew that to the level where in 2016, we discovered that we could apply for an O1 visa. Again, it's temporary, 3 years, but it's given to those like celebrities, actors and all of that, who are at the top of their field. So we were able to go through that application process where we had to prove by way of a 500-page application each that we were at the top of our field and that we could contribute to the US economy. So from that, we could leverage that into a green card. And then just this past week, I got citizenship, because once you have the green card for 5 years, you can get citizenship. And Craig will get
congratulations
later this year. Yes, thank you. Yeah, it's quite the journey to here.
Then COVID hits, right? And you're doing your travel blog. And now at this time, you've decided, okay, let's do This Is Raleigh. Well, that had to have been a real sort of bummer that everybody ended up becoming secluded, locked in their houses, couldn't go out and do anything, right? So how did that whole thing unfold at the time?
Yeah, stressful, obviously. We thought, like most people, we thought we had an international travel blog, so we thought we were pretty much diversified, like writing about, like all over the world. But when the whole world literally shuts down basically overnight, it's pretty scary. And then most of our income streams dried up then and there. And I guess we always had the intention of creating a separate website and publication about living in Raleigh. And the fact that we couldn't travel anywhere, and like you said, we'll lock down for a period of time, gave us the time and the means to get that started. So we launched a website, started our Instagram account, and then just grew it slowly over there from like the first 2 years. Obviously we couldn't go out much dining wise and stuff like that, but we'd been living in Raleigh for many, many years, so we know the city very well already. But we just couldn't get out literally at the early stages of COVID, obviously. But so that's been pretty much most of our energy and focus has gone into This Is Raleigh the last since we started in March 2020, March or April. Right. As soon as the pandemic started, we started This Is Raleigh, and we've grown it exponentially since then. And yeah, we love sharing. We've been shouting about Raleigh since 2004 from the rooftops, like telling everyone and anyone who would listen, like, why is nobody talking about Raleigh? Like, we always said it was America's best kept secret. Obviously, the secret is well and
no longer.
Well and truly out now. The floodgates have kind of opened.
Yeah.
But yeah, ever since 2004, we've been telling everybody about Raleigh, and yeah, we know for a fact that not only have a lot of people visited Raleigh through our stories and our content, but actually moved here, not from only within the US, but overseas. So because we get a lot of emails, a lot of messages, and that's another part of our audience we talk to, people relocating to Raleigh. So I
think we just got voted number 2 place to move in the United States or something like that. I'm trying to remember what I think number 1 was, maybe in Tennessee, or I can't remember.
Maybe,
yeah. I mean, Raleigh's been on a lot of lists for a lot of years.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and it's a good and a bad thing for us locals, right? I mean, it brings in so much culture. I mean, when I was living down in Holly Springs, I'd say and this was a brand new development. I was in Sunset Ridge, and this was years ago. And we built our house there, and just about everybody that lived there was from the north, which was really wild, right? I mean, there were no Southerners in the entire community. Everybody's from New Jersey, New York, Boston. And the really cool thing about it was that all of this culture came down with them, right? Culture that I, really love. I love New England area, right? And so I almost say that Raleigh is like a northern city in the South, right? There's still plenty of Southern charm and Southerners living here. But, I would say, I mean, I think Southerners might be becoming a minority in Raleigh, to be totally honest. I don't know. But it's brought, I've seen such incredible cultural changes since 96. I mean, night and day difference town. It's so much different and such a fun place, like you said. And I'm trying to remember how I found you guys. I mean, I'm guessing it was probably an Instagram post, because I'm a foodie. I love eating it all. Really, I like trying to find little small places to find like a really unique thing to eat or whatnot. And then I came across your blog, where you're talking about record stores you visited, which is, a dear part of my life. I mean, I'm huge into music. I was a DJ in the 80s and 90s, and I was born and raised when hip hop started in New York and breakdancing. I became a DJ in high school. I DJ'd through college parties, fraternity parties, at bars, and all kinds of stuff. Vinyl was always a huge part of my life when I grew up. And then the digital revolution happened, and the vinyl all went into like a closet. It just got sort of forgotten about. And while vinyl had a comeback, I guess the comeback started about 15 years ago. I probably won't get my dates straight. But anyway, I still didn't sort of really get into it, because then streaming started, right? And streaming was so easy, right? It was, you didn't have to clean the records. You didn't have to deal with anything. You just sit on a couch on your phone, tell the stereo to play music, and you can get lost in music for 8 hours can pass, and you're like, what did I just do with my day, right?
Yeah.
And now I think, and this sort of goes back to the calling back to Scotland in a way, there's this nostalgia feeling about physical media, right? I'm really getting back into physical media. I really want to sort of give back to the artists, right? The artists aren't making anything on streaming, right? The way they make money is from physical media, mostly from shows and whatnot. So I've restarted the buying engine of, I'm buying not just vinyl, but I'm buying cassettes. I restored a cassette player. Wow. I've never really stopped buying CDs, because what I'll do is I'll buy CDs, I rip them, I can stream them when I'm doing background music, but when I'm going to do my critical listening, I'll pull out some CDs. But your blog that you did on the record stores in Raleigh, and some of them I didn't know about, it's all about fun of going out on adventures and scope. I always just go downtown and just walk streets to try and find new and adventurous stores to go into. And I think you're making it so much easier with this blog and your posts on Instagram and Facebook about all these really cool niche markets that nobody really knew about until, people like you are doing This is Raleigh. I mean, it's fantastic. I'm really excited about what you've done. And I love that article on the different vinyl stores you went to and where you bought that old turntable, and really cool stuff.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah. When I was first putting that post together, I was like, I don't know if anyone's going to be interested in this, but I was like, we love music. My daughter and I went to the Ritz last weekend, I think, to see a band, and
I saw that post.
Yeah, when we come home, she's like, I'm so happy I have a concert, Mum. And I'm like, I mean, music is everything. Like, some of the best memories I have is going to a concert around the world. And then, of course, then being able to introduce our daughters, they both love vinyls as well. So, you know, we're a vinyl collecting family, and it's just it's a joyful way to listen to music. You know, that sound when the vinyl first starts and the needle hits the record. It's
pop,
just
pop, click, click, pop.
Yeah, that's special for sure. And I grew up, my parents were big into music and they have a huge vinyl collection. So I grew up with them playing vinyls all the time. So that sound just takes me back to my parents' living room.
Yeah, growing up in the 80s and 90s, you know, like speaking of cassette tapes, like that's wild. Like double cassette tape. I remember I got a Cold Chisel double cassette tape, and you know the pencil to one or the tape got stuck and whatever. And trying to explain to the kids these days, you don't have to mess around with anything like that, like rewind or fast forward a song. But yeah, we've been to a lot of amazing concerts around the world. Like even I just remember when we were living in Ireland, like seeing like Tracy Chapman in a small venue in Dublin, and everything from that to like 140,000 people like Robbie Williams at a massive at Phoenix Park in Dublin. Like Caroline's seen U2 in Wembley.
Yeah,
I've seen the Rolling Stones at the Rose Bowl and the Chili Peppers, and you know, we took our kids to see Taylor Swift in Philadelphia, the Eras tour. Like, yeah, music's, you know, it's amazing. And also like a lot of travel memories attached to it as well from a destination. Not just, we didn't just go to concerts in Sydney, like all over the place.
So my first concert was an Australian band, AC/DC. Back in Black, back in the 80s when they came out with Back in Black. That was my first concert ever. I can't even remember how old I was. I think I was like 10. I was down in Florida at my grandmother's, and the neighbors were going, and they had an extra ticket, and I went, and that was my first experience to a concert, and it was outstanding.
Which city was it in?
In Orlando, Florida.
Okay.
In the 80s. That's all I can tell you. I mean, I don't know where the concert was. I just remember being at it. You know, I was pretty young. But
yeah, I mean, AC/DC, I actually think they're bigger in the US than they are in Australia. Like, they're massive over here. I mean, they're big in Australia, but they seem to be bigger in the US.
Yeah. So. Yeah. In my opinion, one of the top 10 all-time rock and roll bands, hands down. I mean, just amazing. Amazing talent.
They're a good walkout song for a football game. I know UNC always has Hell's Bells playing, like, you know, a lot of other venues, you know, that motivation type.
So, you know, I brought some vinyl. I understand you brought some vinyl. Maybe let's go through some records. So, I'll tell you a little story. So, my dad got really big into getting out of vinyl. About 10 years ago, he had a ton of vinyl, and he wanted to get into streaming and be done with, I mean, the amount of vinyl and CDs that took up his house was just too much. So, he gifted me all of his vinyl. And, I mean, you know, there's so much of it that I haven't touched, but so I slowly start pulling out, I guess, basically genres. And so right now I'm on the jazz genre, and there's not much music that I don't really listen to. This is going to be shocking in living in the South. I'm not really big into country. I do like bluegrass. Like, I love Alison Krauss and stuff like that, but I don't like the sort of bubblegum pop country. You know, I like sort of the old sort of Johnny Cash and stuff like that. But
me too.
But anyway, so a couple of albums that I pulled out are two jazz artists that I love a lot, and I haven't listened to these two records yet. They're set to go on my turntable next week. I just cleaned. I just got done after about 6 months of cleaning a lot of records, right?
Wow.
Hundreds of records that hadn't been used in forever, so I went through the whole cleaning process. So the first one here is the best of Wes Montgomery. Huge fan of him. Incredible jazz. He plays the guitar, just absolutely amazing stuff. If you get a chance, you know, check out some Wes Montgomery. And then, of course, Thelonious Monk. I mean, this one's a well-known guy. Yeah. All of his stuff is just amazing. I haven't had a chance to listen to this record yet. I'm really excited to check this one out. But a couple of really cool old-school jazz records that I recommend people that, you know, if they're looking for some jazz to get into, that's a great way to start.
Love it. Great choices.
Yep.
Have you been to the Moon Room in Raleigh, Smoky Hollow?
I know about it, but I have not been to it. My life is so chaotic. I have three daughters. I have 3 cats, a dog. I run a business. My wife's, the CFO of the business too. Free time is at a limit, but it's on my bucket list. I know about it. I want to get there. So yeah.
Fun jazz. Even if you're not, jazz is not your thing. It's just a great experience. It's an adventure in that. Okay, so we sharing?
Yeah, your turn.
All right.
Oh.
Yeah, I just love the Doors.
How can you not?
Yeah, that was just the ultimate band for me. I love Jim Morrison. I love his poetry and his music. And this is one of my favorites. I love Hello, I Love You, Spanish Caravan, Love Street. It's just fun, vibrant music from the Doors, I think, those tracks. So yeah, I absolutely love that one. That's a favorite. And another favorite, Pearl Jam. My favorite band ever. I was listening to streaming. I was listening to their ultimate playlist or whatever recently, and I was like, wow, gosh, I didn't realize just how many great songs they had until you listen to them all once. It's just incredible. But this is definitely one of my favorite albums of theirs. I used to listen to it all the time when I was running along the waterfront in my home. It just a bit of review mirror gave me the energy I needed to keep running and not collapse on the ground. So, and of course, being to their concert in Sydney, which was absolutely incredible.
Mm-hmm. So, interesting story about Pearl Jam. So, when I was at Penn State, which was between 87 and 92, the Chili Peppers came to play at Penn State. And they had a bunch of opening bands. This is right around when grunge started out of Seattle. And so the opening bands I really didn't know much about. And so it was Smashing Pumpkins, Pearl Jam, and I'm trying to remember it was either Alice in Chains or Soundgarden, and these were the opening acts for the Chili Peppers back in the 80s, before any of those guys got huge, right? And I was like, oh my, immediately ran out and bought those CDs the next day. It was crazy.
Incredible! Oh my gosh!
And talk about nostalgia. I mean, this constantly brings back, every one of these pieces of music, vinyl or whatnot, always brings back some sort of cool memory of where you were in the world, or traveling with friends, or riding to the beach for a beach weekend, playing that music, and then seeing the concert when you get to the beach. I mean, it's so much nostalgia. So another one from back then, 1987, when I went to college, is New Order Substance. Yeah. I mean, this is an absolute iconic record. I have a hard time believing people haven't heard of this record, but if you haven't, this is one you got to add to your collection. This is actually original pressing. I bought this in 87 or 88, whenever it came out. Fantastic album, fantastic band. They're still around, still going strong. I definitely recommend people check that one out.
Love it.
What do you got next?
Okay. I had to bring out
Crowded House.
Australian, it's their greatest hits. Recently got this, Craig and I went and saw them. They were playing at Coca Booth, which was just a thrill for us. And of course, if you know anything about Crowded House, years ago they split up, but then they're back together and they came and played locally. And we've seen them a couple of times in Australia, obviously. Great Aussie band. It reminds me a lot of my sister, because she was my older sister. She was a huge Crowded House fan, so she was always playing it in the house. She played the guitar, so she used to play some of their songs, and I always kind of connect to her spirit when I'm listening to Crowded House. But just so many iconic songs.
Yeah, it's such a, whether you're all around the world, you meet up with other Aussies in the pubs and a Crowded House song comes on, it's like an anthem calling back to home, like someone that's like Better Be Home Soon, and like it's very emotional.
Yeah.
So what's your favorite Crowded House song?
I love Take the Weather With You. I love that because I think it's just all about your attitude and how you get to shape your experiences by your perception of it. So I really love that song. But yeah, and you?
Oh wow, tough. Yeah, maybe like I said, Better Be Home Soon. I love that song. Wow, there's so many songs. What do you even start? Like it's just great. Like all round. Like it's hard to. I couldn't pick one actually, probably, but they're cool. And if I had to, You have time for me to share one?
Yeah, go. Yeah.
As an Australian.
Oh, INXS, dear to my heart.
Speaking of, you mentioned your first concert you ever went to. Well, this is the first concert I ever went to in Sydney. Yeah. I'm thinking 89. I'm sure I'm
definitely.
Later years in high school, but yeah, Sydney Entertainment Centre, the old Sydney Entertainment Centre, INXS, I mean, going to a concert and like hearing the energy and just the music beat bouncing off your chest. I'll never forget that feeling and that emotion. And, I think many Australian males probably had a man crush on Michael Hutchence.
Oh, Americans too. I was a diehard Michael Hutchinson fan. In fact, in college, I had long hair, if you can imagine that. And I actually got my hair cut. My mom knew all kinds of hairstylists in New York, and I got my hair done exactly like that because he was a chick magnet. I mean, talk about a stud.
I mean, like INXS, obviously they've done their best to do around, but Michael Hutchence, he was INXS really. Like what a leading man, and
when he passed away, what a bummer.
Have you seen the documentary Mystify?
I have not, but I know about it. Yeah, I have seen some other documentaries, but not that exact one. And
it's a good one.
Yeah, highly recommend.
It's a really good one.
Yeah, just something. They got a lot of great songs, obviously, but yeah, like Mystify.
Mystify is amazing.
Never Tear Us Apart, New Sensation, like great songs.
Great album. I've got that same album right back there, original pressing. Huge fan.
Yeah.
All right, so my next one is Stevie Ray Vaughan. Okay. Probably, in my opinion, there's going to be a whole lot of arguing out there, but one of the greatest guitar players ever, in my opinion. And the guy couldn't read music. Everything was done by listening and just riffing. I mean, just amazing. And Tin Pan Alley on this album, Couldn't Stand the Weather, probably my favorite song by him. I use this to demo audio gear at shows. I mean, there's so much exquisiteness to that song. There's no words. It's just acoustical. And, I mean, the guitar just speaks to you. I mean, it's just Tin Pan Alley is just an amazing song. Huge fan. Highly recommend this album, especially if you're into rock and roll guitars. Oh, this is the way to go.
Love it.
Cool.
I love it.
You got another one? One more.
Another one. It's
Imagine Dragons.
I love Imagine Dragons. I love this album. I love all their albums, and I think I've got all of their albums on vinyl, maybe all of them. But this one I love especially. I just love the, and I think this was one of the albums where they really took off. I think just such high energy songs, and I love how their songs can be so diverse. Like it can be like heavy rock and then slip into rap, and there's just so much going on in their music, and I think they tell good stories. And we did see them live here at Lenovo, and they were just fantastic, just high energy, put on an amazing show. Just really, really love.
And is that the album that has Radioactive on it?
I don't think it is. No, it's got Believer, Whatever It Takes, Thunder.
I thought,
Anyway,
Demons is not on there either. Yeah,
no, that's on one of the other ones.
Yeah, again, great concert.
And so here's my last one. So my last one is David Gilmour from Pink Floyd.
Oh,
okay. And so this winter in Raleigh was pretty cold, dreary, dark outside, blah blah. Really, really sort of depressing, honestly. And so this album's a very melancholy sort of. It's not going to make you more depressed, but it's sort of like the perfect album to listen to when the weather's sort of bad and you want to put on a fire. It's just got that sort of theme to it. And you just sort of, you sit back and you just sort of relax and get lost and not worry about, you can't go outside because it's snowing or sleeting or icing or raining in Raleigh. You can't tell from hour to hour what we're going to get here, right? But this is one of those albums where, and it's called Lost on an Island, and it's sort of like, or on an island, and it's sort of like that you sort of, when you're stuck on an island, there's nothing really you can do if you're, let's say you got shipwrecked or whatever, right? You just have to sit back, enjoy, and take in everything that's around you. And that's sort of what this album sort of does for me. It was great to just, look out the window as the snow comes down with the fireplace going and, maybe a nice hot, fun coffee, flavorful coffee in your hand or something. Great one to check out in the wintertime. Not a great summertime album, but definitely a great wintertime or maybe a fall album.
I love it. You got to have music for all seasons.
Yeah. You've written about the Raleigh record stores. What makes a great record store?
I mean, just quietly, we may have to update that article. It's been a while since I've been. I don't know if you've looked at it recently, but things.
No, I have. I've
changed,
updated it recently.
No.
I think a really great collection between old and new. Like, I love to see new artists putting out vinyls, but I love to go through their collection bin, like their dollar bins even, and seeing what they have. Because I know, speaking about my parents, I look for a lot of records that they would have played. Like, I've got the soundtrack to Oklahoma, just because they played that when I was little.
Right. Brings back memories.
Yeah, The Carpenters. I've got The Carpenters because my mum played it all the time. So I love to look for those kind of records in the bargain bins. But I'm always looking for Australian records. They're really hard to find. But I also love like Hunky Dory. I think they're a great record store because you can go in, you can grab a drink, you can browse. The Poorhouse, you can do that as well, and browse their collection and sort of make it a little bit more of an experience, which I love that. And I just noticed the other day I was in downtown Apex and Hunky Dory had a sign. They're opening up a location here soon.
I just found out about that this weekend. Yep, because
Yeah.
I was at the Ironworks one, and what's really cool about Hunky Dory is, it's becoming, it's all about experience places to go, and that's sort of what like Starbucks mastered, right? The whole point to Starbucks wasn't just about the coffee, but a place you can go have work meetings or get together with people or stuff like that. And now that's sort of happening at the record shops, right? They're putting out really cool old furniture and adding taps, different types of beer to drink, and you just hang out. You're in between meetings and you need a place to stop at. It's a really cool vibe. I'm hoping that, I don't know if you've had a chance when in your travels to go to some of these things that they're doing in Asia, is all these jazz bars where they've got vinyl and drinks. It's a club. I know there's one guy who just retired in New York City that just opened up one of these jazz bars. I hope we get somebody opens one in Raleigh, because I think that would be really cool. More night entertainment, sort of like what the Poorhouse is doing, but more on just a bar and a jazz sort of theme. Sort of smoky house feel to it, if you will.
Yeah, right. I love that.
But we just found out about Poorhouse. We've got a lot of people in our office here that play in bands and instruments and stuff like that. And what's really cool about the Poorhouse is, if people don't know, is that, a band will play music there. They may cut a record for that band that night, and then you can buy the vinyl there in the store, which is really cool. They've got their own, they're doing their own record pressing there. We're actually going to do a fidelity exchange with those guys at some point.
That's really cool.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Now, we first come across Hunky Dory, their original location in Durham on 9th Street, many years ago. I hope it's still there. I assume it's still there.
I think it is, yeah.
But the vibes, comfy couch area to sit. You could sit at the bar and have a beer or a drink. And
then the lower level, the basement, they have a huge collection of bargain old vinyls there.
Yeah, it's like you're sitting in someone's house. But then, obviously, they're in downtown Kerry now. They were in Seaboard, down in Ironworks, so yeah.
Yeah, it's great.
They're taking over.
Yeah, I haven't done the Durham one yet. So your girls, are they into vinyl, or are they Spotify all the way?
Oh, no, they collect vinyl. Both,
yeah.
Obviously.
Like
but
everybody, but yeah.
Yeah, our daughter, our eldest especially when she was working, earning her own money, when her favourite artist, announced that they were releasing an album soon, she'd immediately pre-order the vinyls. She's at college now in a dorm room, so she's kind of sad that a vinyl collection is not with her, but it's still upstairs. Yeah.
No reason why you can't take it to school. I mean, now with these Bluetooth turntables where you can just get a Bluetooth speaker to go with the turntable, it's real simple and easy. And I mean, my daughter is at UNC Wilmington, and we got her one. Yeah. Oh, yeah. We'll have to talk. So we got her a Bluetooth turntable for her birthday. We're actually waiting for it to come in. It was on back order. My other daughter's got one in her bedroom at home. She just graduated, and she's getting her master's at night, and so she's listening to vinyl in her room. So they're all getting into physical media too. They love the sort of nostalgia and the old timey. I don't see that. It's so weird. Your parents used to think about them as old timey, and now my kids are thinking I'm old timey with records and stuff like that. How it goes full circle is just crazy. So
it is. And our daughter also loves that the vinyls come with posters. So that's another good reason for the teens to collect the vinyls, and they put the posters up in their room like we used to do when we were their age. Yeah.
So I want to jump back into your business. So walk us through a little more about, about This Is Raleigh and what it has to offer for all the people in the Triangle.
Yeah, well, basically it's, all things living in Raleigh, everything from, we share like food and beverages, like places to eat and drink, everything like from restaurants, cafes, coffee shops, all different type of dining, where it's casual, fine dining, breweries, bars, cocktail bars,
hiking,
festivals and events. Festivals and events are a big thing. We love all the events and festivals throughout the year. Nature stuff like, one of the great things we love about Raleigh is 100 miles of greenway trails. Mm-hmm. So we do a lot of the trails, whether we're biking or walking, a lot of the lake walks.
Travel, obviously we incorporate travel.
Yeah, day trips. I mean, it's called thisisraleigh.com, but we create content within like a 4-hour drive radius, and some of our most popular content are getaways, like day trips or weekend getaways and stuff like that, where it's to the beaches or the mountains or whatever. But people who are relocating to Raleigh, people like neighborhood guides, some real estate type stuff. All of the above, really. Like everything and anything to do with living in Raleigh, like sporting events, concerts, where to see live music, of course, hotels, staycations. Yeah. There's a long list.
I think what we do is that we have, by nature of the lifestyle that we've lived and our profession through travel blogging, is that our skill set, our passion is to be able to just go outside and find cool things to do. And because we have an explorer mindset, like we know how to go and find cool things. We know how to put together a day or a weekend or whatever. We can put those itineraries together. We know exactly how to find things. And I think a lot of people living in Raleigh or anywhere in the world, they want to go and do more things, but they don't know how to find that, and they don't know where to look, and they get overwhelmed and don't know how to go out the front door and what to do next, where we know how to do that. So we simply go and do that, and then we just show people. So we're saving them time. And we've had people who've lived here forever who've said, I didn't even know half of these places existed until you showed us. So we know how to find those, and then we share it, and we just make it easier for people to go out and replicate that and have a great time and enjoy living here. Yeah.
So what are you most excited about that's coming up in Raleigh? Are there some cool events coming to town or experiences that you can talk about?
Oh, there's always, this is a great time heading into spring because there's so many cool things going on.
Yeah. Where do we start? Just excited to get some, first of all, get some leaves back on the trees and get back out in nature and the trails and stuff. We walk and bike all through winter as well. Like, it's not, it has been a pretty cold winter, but it's not like Buffalo or Boston cold or snowy. So you can still be pretty active. But the festival events and different sporting stuff again coming up. And, and then you get into the summer and the concert, concerts and start ramping up again. So
we've got Paddy's Day, St. Patrick's Day is just around the corner, so that's fun. Go down to downtown, see the parade, and then we like to go to the Hibernian after because they have a big street party, and we lived in Dublin, so that's always great for us.
Yeah, we had St. Patrick's Day in Dublin 2003, which was wild. But now
I love how you guys curate experiences for people, because that's very similar to what we sort of do here at Moon Audio in terms of we curate musical experiences by putting together, packages of different equipment, whether it be for travel. We have a lot of people that travel all over the place, and we do a lot of portable audio, and it's all about experiences, and we try to help them find an experience in music that they can hopefully take with them or put in their home or their beach house or stuff like that. It's all about curating, and not having, exactly like you, it's hard to find stuff if you don't have the time. And so, we just don't sell onesie twosies, warehouse, blah, blah, this. My wife almost calls me an audio psychologist. In other words, I say to a person, tell me about your musical woes. And, what do you, where do you need to hear more music? Is it on the go? Is it at the office? Is it at home, and so forth? So I totally get the curating experience, and it's really cool. So for everyone not in the Triangle, tell us a little more about your Why Travel blog. Help those people, on their journeys around the world.
Yeah, I mean, we do kind of similar over there, I guess, just from a global perspective. So, as you mentioned in the beginning, we've been to around 50 countries, and we tend to write content from the perspective, again, of being helpful to save people time. So if you're going to London, for example, here's what you can do when you get to London. Here are the top attractions, but here are some other lesser known things you might want to experience as well. We do itinerary guides. Taking London, for example, we have a 3-day and a 5-day and a 7-day itinerary guide. And we know what travelers are looking for, so we make sure we're targeting the majority of that as best as we can in those guides. We do have a lot of content on Australia because we've obviously from there, but we've also traveled it in depth. We have a lot of content on the US, again, for the same reasons. And then
parts of Europe, Asia. Yep. Written articles on the blog and then videos on social media, Instagram and Facebook and stuff. And yeah, like you said, we're just trying to be helpful, save people time and money, hopefully, because everyone's busy and some people like their hand being held, and we just guide them to our itinerary guides are very helpful and popular, and where to stay in the city, things to see and do, places to eat and drink, stuff like that. So,
and we have a lot of, because we've been doing this, from the beginning, was solo travel, couples travel, family travel, digital nomad travel. Like, we've hit every single one. So we've had, our idea is travel can evolve with your lifestyle. So the way we travel now is very different to when I was a 21-year-old backpacker. We've still made travel the core of our life. So we do have a lot of content that targets, like if you're a family traveler, we traveled with our daughters full-time, homeschooled for 7 years, so we have a lot of family travel content as well to help people know how they can fit that into their lifestyle, what that might look like. Yeah.
And tell everybody out there, what's the URL for the blog?
Y for yellow, travelblog.com.
Very cool. So last question. So if you could drop everything tomorrow and live somewhere else for 1 year, nowhere permanent, just an adventure, where would you guys go? Or where would each of you individually go?
Oh, wow.
Greece.
So many places. Greece?
Yeah.
We went there a couple of years. It was our last hurrah for, our kids were graduating and stuff like that. It was sort of the last big vacation we did. And we went to Mykonos and Santorini. And
beautiful.
it's a beautiful place. Not cheap, though.
No, they can go to, I was at the Peloponnese a couple of years ago, and that's a little bit more affordable. But yeah, I just love Greece. I'd love to live there for a year, yeah.
Yeah, the food there is amazing. Oh,
so good. And the wine is really good too.
Yeah. And you?
Tough question. I mean, I haven't done as much of Europe as Caroline has, but I had a taste of Italy 2 summers ago.
Nice.
So somewhere in Italy would be lovely. Like, I love Italian food, the coffee culture, coffee scene, the scenery is amazing. Cape Town in South Africa, or maybe London in England. Like, once you're in London, you can get to anywhere in Europe easily and cheaply. And, I love the vibes in the UK, the pub scene and stuff, and the music. So I mean, I know you didn't ask for 3, but I'll give you 3.
I'm trying to think where I would go. It's tough. I haven't been to a huge amount of places. I really enjoyed going to Singapore, and I'd love to do a bunch of traveling in Southeast Asia. Thailand, Cambodia, South Korea, all those countries. I love Asian food. I mean, there isn't, I almost feel like there's some Asian in my blood somewhere, because Asian food's like my favorite. So.
Oh, I agree.
Same. Well, we spent like a year in Southeast Asia, so we can highly recommend. You're talking to the right people. We're gonna definitely support that endeavor.
So, Caroline, Craig, this has been so much fun. Thank you for sharing your story, your records, your perspectives on what makes Raleigh so special. For everyone watching, if you're in the Raleigh area, check out This Is Raleigh. I'm following it all the time. It's great stuff. Links will be down in the description. If you're watching from anywhere else and love travel, make sure you check out the Why Travel blog. And if you're curious about any high-end audio gear or just want to talk about music and sound, we're going to be doing all kinds of vinyl nights here at Moon Audio coming up real soon. The team at Moon Audio is right here in the Triangle and can help. If you've enjoyed this conversation, make sure you subscribed and hit that notification bell. Caroline, Craig, thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, awesome.
We'll see you next time on the Fidelity Exchange.